This is actually an extremely important hero going against green heroes.
Hey, thanks so much for checking out the channel. If you're curious about any other hero in Empires and Puzzles, you can view my website at anchorgame.com. There you will find I have graded every single hero with a calibrated team of graders. This resource will always be free. Thinking about supporting the hero grades and the breakdown videos? You're welcome to donate. Otherwise, feel free to share this resource with a friend. I have my exclusive line group called Anchor Cove, where you gain access to myself and tons of other experienced players with on-demand information and resources. If that piques your interest, all that information is on the opening page of my website with a short video. Let me dive into today's hero breakdown.
Hey, thanks so much for checking out the channel. Today we're going to be doing a brand new hero breakdown on the Ogre Man, Gormek, which apparently his name doesn't have a C in it. I've always misspelled his name since the very beginning. There's no C in his name. Who knew? This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. It is a free massive turn-based dark fantasy RPG. To try this game out, all you gotta do, go to the video description, click on the special links. You'll receive 100,000 silver and 1 free champion, Acolyte. Your treasure is only available for the next 30 days for new players, and it's all waiting for you right over here. He's got 569 on his attack, 565 on his defense, and 1430 on his health. Statistically, his attack power and his defense stink. They're really bad. He's got a ton of health though. I really like that health total. He is one of the classic heroes. He is also running at average speed. As far as his hero specials goes, he deals 295% damage to the target and minor damage to nearby enemies. The target and nearby enemies get minus 34% defense for 6 turns. Pretty solid hero. I really appreciate what he does. With him dealing damage to the target and nearby enemies, and then he's also giving them a minus 34% defense for 6 turns. 6 turns is a really long time. I do really like that about him. Biggest issues are being his attack power and his defense. He is a barbarian class hero, which means if you are using some emblems on him, you're gonna need to make sure you focus on his attack power and his defense to definitely make him a little bit more well-rounded. I could potentially see some emblems going on him, especially if you're planning on doing the events. Multiple Gormeks could really help you out. I personally like Wilbur, but maybe you could definitely use him. So when we look at his tank grade, he is going to get an A grade on the Titans. This is actually an extremely important hero going against green heroes because he is one of the only heroes that are in red that give regular defensive down. The other hero that does that is going to be Wilbur in red that gives regular defensive down. So this hero is extremely important on Titans. On green Titans, I would personally use him myself if I wasn't using Wilbur because we don't have any red defensive down heroes. So you're still going to be using these 4 stars. Even on the 14-star Titans, you got to have the regular defensive down. So that's where this guy fits in on the Titans. If you have Wilbur instead, use Wilbur. But that's pretty amazing. 34% defense for 6 turns. When we look at his offensive grade, he is going to get a B+. I actually do really appreciate this hero. Obviously, he's really squishy with his defense and his attack power, but giving 6 turns of minus 34% defense is definitely a big deal, especially running at average speed, and he's dealing it to the target and the nearby enemies. Definitely could be used in your tournaments, in your raids, in your wars. I could see this definitely being used. He is going to get a B+ grade on offense. When we look at his defensive grade, again, this is comparing it to 5 stars. He is going to get a B as far as his tank grade goes. Obviously, he's got really high health total, but his defense is really bad. So if you are putting him on your defense, you're going to want to make sure you focus on fixing his attack power and his defensive stats so he could be a little bit more stout, and he fits in on that tank position. If there's any position that he fits in the most, it's going to be his tank position because he's just dealing a decent amount of damage, and then also giving the minus 34% defense for 6 turns is definitely quite a bit. So when we look at his flank grade, he is going to get a B- grade. You could potentially use him in the flank grade. Probably not my first choice, but could be used, especially if you're limited on heroes and maybe you have some restrictions. Maybe you put him in there. I do like kind of the defensive down at average speed hitting multiple heroes. That could maybe be your spot for him, but maybe. When we look at his wing grade, he is going to get a C grade there. I don't like him at all in the wing. With him being at average speed, he's hitting the target nearby enemies and then giving them the defensive down. You might be in this awkward position with him running at average speed. He's only hitting one hero because the other heroes are dead. Probably just better suited to have a hero that deals single damage at fast speed, being in your wing grade there. Defensively, he is going to get a B on his defense. I could maybe see a flex up if you're using emblems. There is a position there for that. But again, we're comparing it against 5 stars, so there's definitely a lot better 5 stars that are out there. When we look at his weekly raid grade, the weekly raid grades are compared by only using 4 stars. So I'm not using this in comparison against 5 stars. Reason being is that these raid tournaments are typically done to where they separate 5 stars and 4 stars. So when we look at his rush attack grade, he is going to get an A on rush attack. Reason being, with him now running at very fast speed, he's dealing decent amount of damage and then giving the defensive down for 6 turns. It's pretty amazing. You compare him with some other great heroes, especially in the 4 stars. Heroes like Scarlet will be really useful. Now keep in mind, you can't really pair him with Wilbur because they are going to overlap each other. But if you are using him with the 4-star hero Guardian Falcon, you can definitely stack the regular defensive down and the elemental defensive down, so those can go on top of each other and you can deal a bunch of damage that way. So those do pair well. He does pair well with a lot of other heroes. I really like him on rush attack. He's going to get an A+ grade. When we look at his buff grade, he is going to get an A grade. I actually really like this hero in the buff tournaments. I play with him in my buffed team over Wilbur, which is really weird because I really just like him to just smash them and just destroy them. So with him dealing damage as well as giving defensive down for 6 turns, it could really put a clock on them. And on buff tournament, I use a lot of just defensive down heroes that are just going to deal damage very simply. Just keep their defensive down no matter what. They're always hitting and giving defensive down. I really do like this hero on buff. He is going to get an A grade. On Bloody Battle, he is going to get an A. This should be close to an A+. Probably should be an A+, because he's giving defensive down for 6 turns. He's running at average speed and he's dealing damage. And it's the target nearby enemies that are getting the damage as well as the defensive down. He's pretty amazing on Bloody Battle as well. Really solid hero. I actually do like this hero overall. He is going to get a B+ grade. This is very close to an A-. His biggest issue obviously is going to be his attack power and his defense. You have to fix those. And if you use some emblems, you might have a really solid hero, even being in the 4 stars. So thanks so much for watching this content. Please make sure you subscribe, you turn the notifications on, and I'll see you on the next video.